Holly from behind the screens of Whiskey Fan. Today, Tony will be testing some of the Bottle and Bond. The only thing is he doesn't know which one it is yet. I have picked out 3 different ones for him to choose from. Hopefully he will guess right, but we will see. Hope you guys enjoy this and keep checking back for more information. Thanks.
Hello, welcome to Whiskey Fans. My name is Tony. It's Sunday, and today is the blind pour. You saw Mama T at the start. She done the intro, talked about how we've got this Bottle and Bond lineup, and she chose 3 from up here on the bar top. And we're just going to decide which one it is. She's got these poured blindly for me. So what's up with Bottle and Bond? Why is that so important? Just the other day, it was on March 3rd, we celebrated 126 years of this being put into a law back in 1897. So back in that day, just as it is today, bourbon was popular and everybody wanted in on it. They wanted to cash in, and they weren't always getting quality whiskeys. And so this law went into place. John Carlisle, who's a prominent representative of the government out of Covington, Kentucky, he was really into bourbons, and he was good friends with Colonel E.H. Taylor. And those two got together and they were able to pass this act. This was the first Consumer Protection Act of its kind, and it made sure that you and I knew what we were drinking. As mentioned, the Bottled and Bond Act was our first Consumer Protection Act. So if you've been to a distillery and you've seen the white dog come right off the still, this is the unaged whiskey. So this is actually water. I don't have any white dog on me, but this would be unaged, hasn't been in the barrel, hasn't gone through its different seasons, and so it's going to be relatively clear. And so back then you would have rectifiers who would try to mimic the good whiskeys, the Taylors, the Foresters, and they'd put like dyes in there, they'd put turpentine, they'd put tobacco spit, they would put all kinds of stuff just to mimic the whiskeys that were on the market that were selling. So if you remember back to your collars, if you put blue, red, and yellow, it'll make some brown. So we'll put a little bit more yellow in there, darken this up. And so you give this a little bit of a mix. Got your little science experiment today. It darkened up, it's relatively dark. So they would do things like this to fool the consumer into buying what they thought was a quality whiskey. And sometimes they would have been different whiskeys that were produced by different distillers, different seasons, and you just didn't know what you were getting. So they put that act into place where the bottle had to be, or the barrel had to be aged at a federally bonded facility. It had to be done in one distilled season. That would be January through June or July through December. It had to be done at one distillery, and it had to be done by one distiller. It has to be 100 proof, and it has to be made in the USA, and that's just like with all bourbon. As mentioned, Taylor was one of the pioneers of this, working with Congress, working with John Carlisle to get this act in place. And right now at Castle and Key, that is the original E.H. Taylor distillery. And this is still being made today at Buffalo Trace. Great whiskey. Here we've got a single barrel and we've got a small batch, and both are Bottled and Bond. So all up here on the bar top are Bottled and Bond. And what I do have here is my blind for Sunday. And as I said, Mama T, she has them all marked 1 through 3. I believe she may have mixed them up already. So I'm just going to take the caps off. And
I did not mix them around today since they're already number 1 through 3 because you don't know what they are. So.
Oh, you want to mix them anyways? No? Okay. Well, I'm just going to do a nose and a taste. It's pretty good. I'm going to say this is coming across like it's from a Heaven Hill product. It's jumping out at me like that right now. So I'm not going to take the dyed water. I'll take some real water to do a palate cleanser. Glass number 2. This has got a little bit more fruit forward to it, a little familiarity. Interesting. And we have one here on the bar top that's been getting some controversy lately, is this Early Times Bottled and Bond. Probably many of you knew this was a Brown-Forman product. It was transitioned over to Sazerac, and so a Barton product, but it's yet to be produced, or we don't have their distillate yet in the bottles, even though it's Sazerac selling. So many people will debate that one's better than the other, but I do believe it's the same product, just a little bit different presentation. So that's kind of where we are. Well, I cut over to the Sazerac versus the Brown-Forman controversy because I was doing a little bit of filibustering. I was a little unsure because I felt like this was a Sazerac product. So I still feel like with that fruitiness I'm getting on the bar top here, I do have a couple Taylors. Didn't come across like my single barrel, but it's coming across as such. And now I'm going to go into the third and do my nose and my taste. Now this one's coming across kind of very monotone. I'm not getting much other than maybe a little bit of vanilla. That really carries over. You get the sweetness up front and not really much of a hug. I mean, all of these are 100 proof. So if you're used to drinking higher proof, you're probably not going to get hit that way. I think when I was talking about the requirements of the bottle and bond, I mentioned being in a federally bonded warehouse, but I also did not mention these are all at least 4 years. I do have a few on the bar top here that are greater than 4 years. There are some basically non-age stated other than the fact that you know it's at least 4 years. But a new one to the lineup here is this Bottled and Bond coming out of Bardstown. This is a really knockout bottle, $50 and 6 year, and it's absolutely delicious. Unfortunately, that wasn't poured in one of the 3 glasses. I know because I had some of this last night, and I told Mama T that I could pick that one from a mile away. And then if you're looking at the Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond, this is a 7 year, and this is a great one. And then the McKenna, you've got a 10 year, and this is a single barrel. So you've got some really, really great options that are out here that are available. Not all of them are easily readily available, but a lot of them you will find on your shelves out there. If you want to get a small batch GH Taylor, just recommend you going down to the distillery, getting in line, and bring as many of your friends as possible so you can each buy one and share. But there's other great ones here too, like the Early Times. You got Old Tub, you got Evan Williams, you got the 1897 from Old Forester. These are all readily available in all marketplaces. These are all less than $30. I know that we have some here less than $20. So just really, really great options that are available to you in the bottle and bond range. And even have a few ryes here. We did have Rye Madness, and that's why we weren't coming into you on March 3rd on Friday, because we're doing the championship. And we did have the Balboa rye did make it to our round 2. Did not make it all the way to the championship, but if you do want to look in the comments area, I'll do put the link to the championship round of the Rye Madness. But you do have some ryes in here too that do make the bottle and bond age statement. So enough with my filibustering. I'm going to get back to tasting and nosing and do another comparison. I can get a little tricked sometimes between the Heaven Hill and the Beam. So I do have an Old Tub I forgot about up here. But this is not coming across like the age of a McKenna being a 10 year or the Heaven Hill being a 7 year. It is smelling a little young and having a little bit of that nuttiness. I'm going to say my bottle guess is going to be Old Tub on this one. That's just based upon the parameters that I have from the tasting. And I'm coming back to this one. Like I said, this has got to be a Taylor. It's just coming across that way. There's some subtle differences. You do get the consistency, I believe, in the small batch. This is a toss of a coin. I'm just going to say it's E.H. Taylor, and I'm just going to say it's probably single barrel. I don't know. And I'm going to look at this number 3 here. And since I know based upon what I like. And this is probably the one that I would say I would rank down the lower end of the spectrum. Not to say that there's a lot of good Evan Williams products, but this is just coming across as a one-noter for me. So I'm going to say this glass number 3 is Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. I'm saying this middle one here is the E.H. Taylor single barrel, and this one's Old Tub. So, Mama T, what are the results?
Your glass number 1 is Old Tub, which
Oh,
you are
wow.
correct on.
So we got Old Tub.
Your glass number 2 is your E.H. Taylor small batch.
Oh, wow.
And glass number 3 is your Evan Williams.
Hey, you got that. So these were in my inventory in my bar. I've had them open, as you can see. I've tried them. So if these were all random brought to me, I can't tell you that I would have gotten these. But they're all great. They can all be used a little bit differently. You know, mixers, cocktails, whatever. I enjoy a lot having the Taylor just as a sipper. Really got into some of the, I'm not going to say low end, I'm just saying some of the lower priced items. And just to say this Old Tub came across, you know, decent. And I got to tell you, really, I enjoy this Old Forester a lot. And you can't go wrong with the early times. You get a liter bottle here for about $25. And as I mentioned, this new 6-year option from Bardstown is outstanding. And obviously, you can't go wrong with the Heaven Hill. I mean, I don't have the old Fitz decanters on the bar top here, but those are also bottled in bond. You can get anywhere from, you know, 8 years up to 19 years, I do believe. So great options here. Great act that came into place 126 years ago. So thanks to Colonel E.H. Taylor for pushing this through for us and to make sure that we were protected with our whiskeys. And just be careful out there, because we know that there's a lot of highly allocated bottles that come from Buffalo Trace. You do see a lot of sellers online, especially if you're on Instagram. If they see you're a whiskey person, they'll try to friend you, try to sell you bottles out of their inventory. I can't say that all of them are trying to scam you, but you do have to watch out for that. You might not be getting what the actual is in the bottle when you purchase it. So make sure you buy from reputable sources. Your friends, your local liquor stores, go to the distillery. A lot of times where we go, so I mentioned in previous videos, we're about 3 hours north of most of the distilleries, and we're able to stumble across many of these bottles. And it's just a whole lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed this. And drink responsibly. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and cheers.